All right, forget your usual true crime story for a minute. Today, we are going on a microscopic manhunt. Our target? It's a master of disguise, a silent operator that has been plaguing humanity for thousands of years. It's a bacterium so well defended, it's practically invisible, all because it's wrapped in a biological suit of armor.
So you've got to wonder, what's its secret, right? What makes this one tiny organism so incredibly tough? That is the exact mystery we are going to unravel today. We are going to crack the case of how this bacterium defies just about everything we throw at it, from our own immune system to some of our most powerful drugs. Any good detective will tell you to start with the family, and our culprit belongs to a pretty notorious clan, the genus Mycobacterium. This is a huge, ancient family of bacteria, and its members live, well, pretty much everywhere, from the dirt under our feet to the water we drink. And when I say this family is massive, I mean it. We're talking over 200 known species. Now look, most of them are totally harmless, just living their lives out there in the soil and water. But a handful? Well, a handful are on the microbial most wanted list. They all kind of share a family resemblance. They're all rod-shaped, they all need oxygen to survive, they're aerobic, and they don't form spores. But there's one trait, one feature that really sets the dangerous ones apart. This incredibly complex and really unusual cell wall. And trust me, this isn't just a wall, it's a fortress, and it is the secret to all their success. So let's zoom in on the family's black sheep. These are the pathogens, the ones that have made the Mycobacterium name so infamous. These guys are responsible for some of the most devastating diseases in all of human history. On our most wanted list, we've got M. leprae, which is the culprit behind leprosy, and M. bovis, which can cause a disease that's a lot like tuberculosis. But public enemy number one, the one responsible for millions of infections every single year, is the notorious Mycobacterium tuberculosis. Okay, so how does M. tuberculosis get away with it all? What is its secret weapon? Well, it all comes down to that fortress we were talking about, its cell wall. It's not made of bricks and mortar, but of this waxy, fatty substance that literally acts like a suit of armor. The secret ingredient in this biological armor is something called mycoholic acids. Just think of them as these super long, waxy molecules that are all woven together to create a nearly impenetrable, totally waterproof barrier. This waxy shield is exactly what makes the bacterium so unbelievably tough. Now, this armor has some serious consequences. For one, it slows the bacterium's growth down to a crawl. I mean, it takes about 18 hours just to double in number. But the trade-off is huge. This waxy coat makes it incredibly resistant to detergents, to disinfectants, and to a lot of our go-to antibiotics. It's so effective, it even repels the basic dyes we use in the lab to see bacteria under a microscope. And that right there creates a huge problem for scientists. The gram stain, which is like one of the most fundamental tools in microbiology, is completely useless against mycobacteria. Their waxy armor just repels the dye. So to even get a glimpse of this invisible enemy, researchers had to come up with a whole new plan of attack. And this is where the term acid fast comes from. It describes this remarkable ability that mycobacteria have to hold on tight to a special dye, even when they get doused with a strong acid. And it's a direct result of that waxy, mycolic acid-filled cell wall. The clever technique that finally cracks the code is called the Ziehl-Neelsen stain. Here's how it works. First, scientists use heat to basically force a potent red dye, called carbylfuchsin, through the bacterium's waxy defenses. Then, the whole sample is washed with a strong acid. Now, most other bacteria just lose the dye, but the acid-fast mycobacteria, they hold on tight, glowing this brilliant red and finally revealing themselves. So, we've seen how this bacterium defends itself. It's got this incredible armor. But how does it go on the offensive? How does this super slow-growing, heavily armored microbe manage to launch a successful invasion and actually cause disease? The whole invasion starts with something as simple as a cough or a sneeze, which launches these microscopic droplets into the air. If someone inhales them, those droplets travel deep down into the lungs. Our immune system's first responders, these cells called macrophages, they rush to the scene and just gobble up the intruders. But this is where the bacterium's genius really kicks in. Its armor protects it from being digested, and it turns the macrophage into a kind of Trojan horse, multiplying safely inside the very cell that was sent to destroy it. So if it's that stealthy, How do we unmask this invader? How can we possibly detect a bacterium that's literally hiding inside our own cells? Well, it turns out the answer is to use its own biology against it. Have you ever had a TB skin test? You know, that little injection they give you in your forearm? That is a brilliant piece of detective work. It's a perfect example of applied microbiology. But what is it actually doing? What is it looking for? That test is the tuberculin skin test, or TST for short. What happens is a tiny amount of a substance called purified protein derivative, or PPD, is injected. And this is the key part. You're not being injected with the bacteria itself, just a collection of its proteins. So the test isn't searching for the actual bacterium, it's looking for a memory. It's checking to see if your immune system has a record, if it's ever encountered these specific proteins before. If it has, it will recognize them as a threat and launch a little inflammatory response right there at the injection site. And that's what creates that telltale red bump. Now, that immune response isn't instantaneous. That's why you have to wait a couple of days to get it checked. It just takes time for your immune system's memory cells to get called over to the site of the injection and to mount a visible reaction. That's why the final reading is usually taken between 48 and 72 hours later, just to make sure the result is accurate. And here's the beautiful irony in all of this. The very thing that makes this bacterium such a perfect pathogen, its waxy, impenetrable armor, is also its greatest weakness. That acid-fast cell wall, the absolute key to its survival, is the very clue that lets us unmask it. Its greatest strength is also its Achilles heel. The story of Mycobacterium tuberculosis is just such a powerful reminder that in the world of microbiology, knowledge really is power. By understanding the intricate biology of these microscopic adversaries, we can actually turn their strengths into weaknesses. It really makes you wonder, right? What other invisible enemies are out there, and what secrets are they holding? The microscopic world is just full of mysteries waiting to be solved.